Hi, I'm Mrs. Gallagher, and tonight I'll be showing you how to do fluency and retail practices at home with your student. These are the same practices we do in the classroom, and so your student will be really familiar with them, and the more you practice, the better readers they become. And so if we do it at school and we do it at home, your child's reading skills will improve immensely. So let's get started. Tonight, the learning intention. So this is the why. This is the purpose behind why do we teach this skill. We're going to be working on reading fluently and accurately, which means you're reading with emotion and expression. So you're not just trying to read as fast as you can. And the accuracy part is trying not to miss words or mispronounce words. But the whole reason for practicing is even if you do miss words, you can have another opportunity to try again and be more successful the second time. And your student will know they're successful when they can retell what they read. So, when we're doing fluency in class, these are what the fluency passages look like. If you see the numbers on the side, that's how many words are in that sentence. We usually time the students for a minute. So we read with them, we track with them. If they miss a word, we kind of check it off in the notebook. And then when the student is done, we go over the words they missed, and then we calculate a total of how many words per minute they read, as well as their accuracy. So I'm going to show you an example of that. This story is called The Fox and the Rooster, and then I will show you how to help your children with retail. So let's get started. I'm going to put a 1-minute timer on my phone, and once that goes off, I'm going to stop reading. I'm going to purposely make some mistakes so that I can kind of show you what it looks like to correct your student at home and help them practice to the best of their ability their fluency and accuracy. One morning, a hungry fox trotted along looking for his breakfast. As he passed a farm, he heard a rooster crow. The fox liked his chops and looked around, hoping to sight the rooster. Finally, he spied the bird sitting high in a tree. "Good morning, friend," the fox called out. "Come down and have a friendly chat with me." "Oh, I can't do that," replied the rooster. "You would eat me for sure." "You haven't heard the news then," the fox said in a surprised tone. "All of us animals have agreed to live peacefully from now on. We aren't allowed to eat one another any more." The rooster did not answer. Instead, he began to look into the distance with great interest. He cocked his head as if he heard something, but the fox heard nothing. As a result, the fox became curious. "What's going on?" asked the fox. "What do you see? What do you hear?" "Why, it's a pack of wolves running this way. They must be coming for a friendly visit, just as you did," said the rooster. "Oh," said the fox nervously. "Now that I've told you, Okay, so with those mistakes, I would have been marking them as a teacher so that I can go back and say, when you said curious, the word really is curious. And I would mark a line where they stopped reading so that I could see how many words per minute they did. And so if I calculate the total on that and I minus from the words I missed, which I think I missed 4, it would be like 140. And then you would tell your student, okay, the first read you did 140. That's fantastic. The goal is whatever goal you want to set with your child at home. Fifth grade benchmark is 130 by the end of the year. So you would go through, you're practicing the read, and any words that they missed while they were reading, you want to go back and make sure you go over those words so that when they're doing future readings, they don't miss them in the future. And usually in these passages, they're reoccurring words that they're going to see pretty frequently. So it's important to make sure you check those off. The second part of our learning intention today is being able to retell successfully. A trick that we try to teach your students is the 5-finger retell. On the first finger, so under the table, they're even allowed to tap their fingers, and sometimes that helps kids remember the categories they can start retelling of the story. So the first one is character. So all the story was about the rooster and the fox. So I would go through and I would retell you as much as I could about the fox and the rooster. Like the fox is very sly, he's pretending, at least I think, I'm making a guess. The rooster is curious. He's not sure whether to believe the fox about whether or not he's actually going to eat him. That kind of stuff will help your kid to retell a lot of the story just on one finger alone. The next thing that they can retell is the setting. So where did the story take place? It talks about being outside, so I'm going to assume that they're either in like a forest or they're just out in nature, and I would talk about that. The next one is the problem, and to me, reading that story, the problem seems like the the rooster's not sure whether the fox is telling the truth about whether they're actually going to be friends or not. So I could talk about that. The next one is events. So any event that your child remembers in the story, I'm going to talk about how the fox was looking for breakfast, and then all of a sudden he runs into rooster and he's not going to eat this rooster. So that seems very suspicious to me. And the last one is the solution. And sometimes they've read fast enough in the story to see what the solution is, and sometimes they won't get to that part. So they might not be able to retell as far as what the solution of the story is. But the next part is actually the palm part, and it's a favorite part they had in the story. So my favorite part is kind of the fox being mischievous and kind of making up this story of whether he's going to eat this rooster or not. And that's my favorite part of the story. But you can go through these 5 categories. Technically, it's 6 if you count the palm. Anytime they're reading a book at home. So it doesn't have to be a timed minute retell. It can be, I noticed you were reading this chapter book. Can you tell me more about this chapter book? What's your favorite part of the story? What characters are in it? And they should be able to retell you pretty easily what's going on in that book. The next thing that you can have students do when they're done with their retell is you can start doing tally marks for every word they tell you, and it kind of gives them an idea of how much they can recall in a story. And I've seen students get really excited about this. Oh my gosh, 36 words, that's fantastic. And sometimes students can even retell almost as much as they read in a minute, which is pretty impressive. So that's kind of a fun game, I guess you could say, you could do with your kids. So these are some strategies on fluency and retell. It's the same strategy as your student will see in class. So the more we practice at school and the more we practice at home, the better the reader they become. Thanks for watching.